Do I have confidence the Ontario government won't mismanage? That's a tough question.
Well, it's really no laughing matter. I'm sure you're enjoying the lower gasoline prices. My understanding is that gas will go down again overnight to an even cheaper price. It's been 5 or 6 years maybe since we've had these kinds of gasoline prices in Canada. And so one provincial government has said, hey, strike while the striking is good. What a great time to add a carbon tax to gasoline, a product which, by the way, is taxed at almost 40% across the country, certainly in Ontario. That's the latest figure that I looked up this morning. So that's a new plan from the Ontario Liberals. PC MPP and candidate for leadership of the Progressive Conservative Party, Lisa MacLeod, is in London, Ontario. Welcome.
Thanks, Jerry, and Happy New Year. I haven't seen you since the new year began.
A Happy New Year to you. Will it be a Happy New Year or will we get a carbon tax? I don't think those go together.
Well, that's true, Jerry. This is a Liberal government addicted to tax hikes, especially when they promise during an election campaign that they won't do it. They've done it before, they'll do it again, and I'll point out the single largest income tax increase in Ontario's history, the health tax. The single largest sales tax increase in Ontario's history, the HST. And now we're going to see the single largest environmental tax in Ontario's history with a new carbon tax, which, by the way, the Progressive Conservative Party warned Ontarians about over a year ago. The Liberals denied that, and now in what appears to be, I think, a move for deceit, a plan to bring into effect a carbon tax that they denied. And I think Ontarian voters have a great right to be angered and disappointed. Yeah,
not all are, however. I've been in debates already today, Lisa, with people who think it's a good idea along the lines of, well, if you're going to contribute to, global warming and global gas emissions, etc., then you got to pay the price. I think at 40% tax on gasoline, we're already paying the price.
Well, look, we're paying the HST on gasoline. We're paying an excise tax on gasoline. There's, as gas prices go up, it gets even more frustrating for consumers. And then people, of course, across Ontario this month are finding, for the first time in a long time, a little bit of relief because gas prices aren't so high. But of course, Kathleen Wynne is going to have to figure out a way to pay for her rapidly expanding deficit. She's going to have to pay for what we just saw this week with increases in school boards to supervisors, despite there being a wage freeze. And of course, we know there are 4,000 collective agreements in Ontario coming due. This is a Liberal government that cannot say no. And just remember this, when they brought in the health tax, it did not go to health care, it went into general revenues. How can Kathleen Wynne or her Environment Minister, Glenn Murray, make a commitment to you, to me, and to the rest of Ontario to say that carbon tax will go to offset carbon in Ontario? We simply can't believe them. They simply haven't delivered before. In fact, they've misled the public on this in terms of taxation before, and I would expect that they're going to do it again.
Well, certainly, and it should be alarming to the kinds of people who might necessarily usually support a Liberal government that this is a regressive tax. It won't just drive up the price of gasoline, that drives up the price of everything. And so people on limited income, whether they are seniors on a fixed budget or young people starting out or people who are struggling for whatever reason, it's not just filling up your tank. Your groceries, everything else will go up in price. It will hit the low income first.
Well, that's exactly what the HST did, and this is what the carbon tax will do. This is a Liberal government less concerned about individual members of society and the people that they represent, and more concerned about continuing to spend the way they have without making any tough decisions. This is just another tax to go into general revenues in order for this Liberal government to continue with what they've always been doing, and they did not campaign on it. That's a lot of audacity just months after a general election in which they promised no higher taxes. And now not only do we have a carbon tax coming in, we have a payroll tax as well through the ORPP. This is going to be very devastating for many Ontario families. As you say, it is regressive. It means life will become more unaffordable for them than it already is, not to mention the high hydro prices that we pay as a result of the numerous boondoggles and scandals in hydro by this Liberal government.
Well, what can you do about it? Because this is the government 2 elections in a row if the world were spinning correctly, as far as I can tell, would have been hoofed out. But under a multi-party system, 38% of the people voted for them. They have a majority government, and you guys have a leadership race going right now because your party has failed in that regard.
Yeah, we failed 4 times. No one disagrees with that. We've had some very flawed execution of campaigns, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times, under 3 different leaders from 3 different parts of the party, from 3 different places in Ontario. So we've got a lot of work to do, but I think we've got to get back to basics and earn the trust of Ontarians. For too long, we've had a penchant for wedge politics. We've narrowed our base, and what I'm trying to do and set out to do is ask people, Jerry, to come back home to the Ontario PC Party. If you've taken out a membership in the past and let it lapse, if you've taken out a lawn sign or if you've knocked on doors for us, come back home. Jerry, if you believe in balanced budgets and living within your means while helping people who can't help themselves, you're a progressive conservative. If you believe in law and order and safer streets and strong families, you're a progressive conservative. And if you believe in a strong economy to fund our healthcare and education system, you're a progressive conservative. I'm simply telling people we have to come back home. Ontario depends on a strong progressive conservative party to hold the Liberals to account. And it's no secret that when our party was strong, our province was stronger. And that's what I'm doing right now, trying to get them to come back home. And we're going to have to get down to business immediately after the leadership in order to put forward policies that will get our province back on track. I remember when people from around Canada and all over the world would choose to make this place their home because we had a competitive tax rate. We were able to get jobs. We were able to allow people to buy homes and retire comfortably. That's not happening today anymore. And we've got to get back to business. And that's why I'm asking people to come back home.
Lisa MacLeod, thanks very much.
Thanks, Jerry.